Okay, we are now recording. This is our October meeting. It's October 8th, 2020, 12:30 p.m. I am Deanna Clark. I'm the Student Veterans Association President. Welcome, everyone. So glad to see your smiling faces, or at least your names, so that I can put it together who you guys are. Today on our meeting, we have Mr. Eric Brew from Still Serving Veterans. I'm motioning because he's in my top corner. So, you know, it feels real sometimes, right? That guy right there in that corner. He works for Still Serving Veterans. He is a 24-year, look, see, I pay attention to my friends. Army veteran. He is a dear friend of mine. Him and his significant other, and myself and my significant other, we are very good friends. Love him to death. He works for Still Serving Vets. He is a subject matter expert on LinkedIn. As I was telling some of the folks in the group, he very nicely told me that my LinkedIn was sad. In a very nice way. He will never, ever, ever be mean to you unless you ask him to. Some people are into that. He helps people to, well, he helps veterans, let me rephrase that, veterans and family members to find employment here in the Columbus and Phoenix City areas. Still Serving Veterans is located in Phoenix City, right across the bridge. He will put his contact information in the chat. He will put his LinkedIn information. See how that works? We work well together. He will put his LinkedIn information in the chat, and without further ado, because the brief that he normally gives is way longer than an hour, I told him he only had an hour. If you would like to connect with him, you can. The information is in the chat. If you would like to stay in this group and ask questions after the hour is up, please stay. He will answer any questions that you have, and I will leave it open as long as there is at least one person in the room. So Eric, you have the floor. I'm going to figure out how to give you the wheels and let you navigate.
Got it. Deanna, thank you very much for having me. Guys, I appreciate your time. I'm humbled and honored that you invited me here to do this little class with you. I'm going to start off by first up, let's handle the end of the class first, because I like doing things out of order. I have closed off the rest of my afternoon. So I will be here, like Deanna said, I'll be here as long as you guys need me here, okay? I went ahead and pushed a couple of clients off to the side, gave to one of my other counselors, and so we're all set. We're clear for the rest of the afternoon. Okay, let's talk about LinkedIn. As Deanna said, I don't know that I would call myself a subject matter expert. And the reason I say that is because what you all have been in, whether it was for 4 years or 3 years or 24 years, is you've been in a world of regulatory guidance, whether it's Army regulatory guidance or Navy regulatory guidance, it doesn't matter. Everything was covered by a book. I used to tell my commanders when I was a first sergeant all the time, look, you don't even have to make a decision. Just read a book. Just read the book. The book is going to tell you what to do in any given situation. But as you are all now veterans and you all have stepped into the civilian world, you understand that this is a world of opinion and conjecture. It is exactly the same on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, it is more about not choosing the wrong answer than it is about choosing one of 1,000 different right answers. So it comes down to what you're most comfortable with. So I'm going to preface all of this by saying, guys, listen, whatever I say, whatever I advise you on, whatever my opinions are, take what you're comfortable with, apply it, listen to other mentors, reach out to other mentors, get other ideas, get other opinions, and then make your own answer. Okay, that's the beauty of not being in the service anymore. Okay, I don't have a chain of command I have to listen to like that anymore. All right, so, okay, let's talk about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the greatest platform on the planet right now for networking. Okay, 500 million users, roughly. Okay, that number does fluctuate, but roughly 500 million users, 500 million people. Roughly 133 million of those are right here in the United States, and almost 40% of those are recruiters. Recruiters, hiring officials, HR personnel, stuff like that. People who are looking to hire. Okay, and that makes LinkedIn really the Swiss Army knife of the job search sites. Okay, when you talk about Indeed, or you talk about Glassdoor or Job Hero, USA Jobs. Okay, those are all job sites. LinkedIn is classified as a job site, but it has a unique function, and that's the networking piece. That's the interaction piece. That's the connection piece. And that's what makes it so powerful. The fact is that when you apply to an organization, and you apply online, when you upload your resume, you're uploading what's called an ATS, an applicant tracking system. Right now, the average, and again, this varies by industry and it varies by state and it varies by location, but the average is about a 4% chance. You have roughly a 4% chance of ever seeing an interview when you apply through an ATS. And it's not because your resume is bad. It's not because they don't like the locks. It's not because they don't like your age. It's not because they don't like, it's not that. It's simply you've got one job announcement and they're receiving 300 to 400 resumes per job announcement. And with COVID going on right now, y'all, it's getting worse. The numbers are going up because so many people are out of work and so many people are applying for employment. And so when you look at this, the ATS is a tough system because the ATS really is a defense. It is designed to disqualify you. Okay. Now, I say all of that to lead into LinkedIn because the only way to beat an ATS, and it's not the keywords. Okay, everyone has heard about keywords, and we've got websites that we can go to, and we can upload job announcements and resumes and make sure our keywords match. Those things are great. They will not defeat an ATS. They will soften the defense, but they will not defeat it. The only way to defeat an ATS is to have a human person on the other side of that computer in the organization that you have networked with, built a relationship with, that's going to pick up your resume, walk it down the hall, and say, Jim, I've got a young lady. Nicole is the one. We need to hire her. Let's get her in here. Here's the resume. That's the way you defeat an ATS, networking. Okay. Some of you are younger than I am. Most of you, I think, are younger than I am, which is heartbreaking. Anyway, when I was coming up, networking was simple. To me, it was a firm handshake. It was eye contact. It was articulate conversation. It was being able to, verbalize what it is I do or my elevator pitch. It all fell under this umbrella of social intelligence. And for me, that's something that's very easy. I'm a kind of an outgoing person. I'm not much of an introvert. Deanna will probably tell you I talk a lot. And so that networking piece became easy for me. This isn't a lot different. Networking is still networking. The premise is still there. The eye contact is there. The firm handshake is there. The articulation is there. It's all there, just in a different platform. So let's talk about that. If you don't know who Michael Quinn is, he is a must connect. Michael Quinn is a 2-time top voice on LinkedIn. And people say, well, what the heck's a top voice? Yes, that's a real award given to people by LinkedIn. What it is it's someone who's influential. It's someone whose content is valuable, someone who has a large number of followers. And so Michael Quinn is a retired sergeant major. He is an incredible human being. First of all, he's one of my mentors. But Mike is an influencer. Mike is a connector. Mike is the person that you go to when you need to know something. And so Mike is a big deal on LinkedIn. So he's a must connect. If you reach out to him, connect with him, tell him, you're connected with me, that's fine. He probably will get to your message someday. I don't know, he's really busy, but he's a really good guy and a great mentor. But what he talks about a lot is your personal brand, okay? And your personal brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. And I think for any one of us, that matters. When I walk out of a room, I don't want my employees here at Still Serving Veterans or my friends or my kids or my parents. I don't want people to say bad things about me when I leave the room. So it's an important brand. And it's the same in business. It's the same in networking. When there are private conversations going on LinkedIn, I want people to speak well of me. I want people to recognize my organization. I want people to recognize the hard work that my team has put in. And so I have to make sure that I remember I'm constantly representing veterans, mill spouses. I'm constantly representing Still Serving Veterans and Veterati. I'm constantly representing that's the industry. I'm a constant billboard, and so are you, whether it's for an organization or for yourself. Okay, so your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. That's important. Okay, let's talk about how to build that brand. Background photo. What I'm going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is I'm going to start from the top and work all the way down, provided I have the time. Okay, let's talk about background photos. Background photos are pretty simple, guys. Again, this is very much, remember this. It's more about not choosing the wrong answer than it is one of 1,000 different right answers. Okay, wrong answers for the background photo. The stock blue background. The one that your LinkedIn profile comes with, that is a wrong answer. And I'm going to tell you why. 8 out of 10 recruiters, this is a LinkedIn stat, 8 out of 10 recruiters will immediately bypass a profile that does not have a background photo. Okay. When it comes to which profile or which background photo to choose, a couple of simple things, a couple of simple rules here. If it's inappropriate, don't post it. Don't put it up there. Okay, if it's an inappropriate quote, if it's an inappropriate picture, don't put it up there. It's your personal brand. Okay. Again, leaving it blank is wrong. Other than that, honestly, the reason I chose that picture of Columbus, Georgia, is because I took it. I mean, it's that simple. I took the picture. I'm kind of a photography nerd. I took the picture with my iPhone. It turned out just like that. That is no filters, no anything. I don't know if I had dust on my lens or what, but it turned out looking like kind of an oil painting. I thought that was cool. It's got soft lines, soft colors, and so it's easy on the eyes. And that's why I chose the picture. It could have been a picture of a beach, which would be my happy place. It can be a quote. It could be clip art. Just be cognizant of what you're posting as far as the lines and the colors go. Okay, that's that. Let's talk about profile photo. First of all, for those of you that are in the Army or that were in the Army, this is not a DA photo. This is not your Department of the Army photo. This is not your photo for your board. This is not a place for you to put a picture of you in your uniform, because for every one of us, those days are in our rearview mirror.
Hey, okay? Top, you want to share your LinkedIn screen with us?
Oh, dang, I'm not doing that, am I?
No.
You didn't say that.
I was just made aware.
Yeah, there we go. Look, this is easy. I'm so sorry. Y'all, I'm very, very sorry. I got way ahead of myself. Deanna put me on a clock and it made me nervous. I got scared.
Keep going, Top. You got it.
All right, so here we go. Here's the background photo, now that you can see it. But again, it really is about more than just picking the right, one picture that you're comfortable with and just not using the wrong answers. Background or the photo. Again, not an Army photo. It's not a Navy photo. It's not your file for your board file. It's a picture that shows that you're approachable. Okay. If I'm at a business mixer, right? If I'm down at the Iron Works and I'm at a business mixer and I'm standing in front of the table like this, right? Couple of problems. Number one, I'm not going to meet anybody. Nobody's going to walk up and talk to me. Number two, nobody's going to get the cocktail shrimp. Okay, those are the two big problems with that situation. All right, because nobody's going to get past me to go to the cocktail shrimp. I want to look approachable. I want to be approachable. It's the only way people are going to want to talk to me. It's the only way people are going to want to connect with me. And so a smile is necessary. Okay, this picture right here, my girlfriend took this picture. It took us 9 attempts. I smile when things are funny. I smile a lot. I have a hard time smiling for pictures. So I get it. It makes sense to me. I understand. But you've got to smile. Here's the trick. Here's a couple of tricks. Number one, please make sure that your face takes up about 90% of the frame. The reason I say that is because a lot of recruiters use handheld devices. They don't use big screens. They don't sit, I mean, a lot of them sit at their desk, but a lot of their work is done on the travel or on the go, or it's done from home, or it's done in traffic. And so they're using phones or iPads. And if the picture you've chosen is far away, it'll be very hard for them to see you. And let's be honest, looks are your first impression. They want to be able to see your face. They want to be able to say, oh, that's Eric. I recognize, okay, now I've got a face to the name. I think I heard Deanna say that when one of the students popped in. Now I've got a face to go with the name. It's important. Okay. Let's see here. Let's talk. Don't do a selfie. Now, when I say don't do it, when LinkedIn, a lot of people will tell you don't use selfies. Most of the people that say that are older than I am, and they don't understand that a lot of times the selfie is really how we get our pictures, and you can make a selfie look normal. What they're talking about is don't do this. That's not a picture you want on your LinkedIn. Okay, it's a professional representation of yourself. Okay, let's talk about this next section. So this whole first section is what I like to call that first impression, right? Eye contact, articulate conversation. This is a quick way to tell people who you are. So if we look here, first of all, anywhere you look on your LinkedIn page that you have a pencil is somewhere where you can edit. Okay, I'm not trying to insult anyone's intelligence, but some people don't know. So when you see a pencil, you can edit. Another thing you should be looking for on this, on your profile is this gold IN. If you do not have that, that means you don't have a premium account. If you don't have a premium account, you're missing out. LinkedIn is a for-profit business. They've designed the free version to fall short for a reason, because they want you to pay $60 a month for premium. It's a for-profit business. For veterans, they give you a year free. So if you don't have premium, when we're done with all of this, if it's okay with everyone here, if you guys want to send your emails in the chat, or Deanna, if you want to capture everyone's emails and send them to me, I will send this outline all to you guys. And at the bottom of it is the link for the free premium. So all you have to do is click on it, go through ID Me, set yourself up with free premium, saves you $60 a month. Side note, at the end of the first year, when you hit day 366, day 366, you just do it again. And then again, and then again, and it never really ends. I'm on my second or third year. I think Dory, my intake counselor, is on her third or fourth. So we just continue to get the free year. Okay. Let's go into our edit here for a second. I want to go into this. Actually, let's go back. Here's what I want to do. I want to show you guys something.
While he's looking for that, if you would drop your first and last name in the chat, if it's not your screen name.
There we go. Okay, if everybody looks at my profile, okay, right here, this is my LinkedIn URL. Okay, this is my address on LinkedIn. You'll notice that I don't have Eric-Brew-Alpha Bravo 17394 Hotel Zulu. LinkedIn issues everyone an individual URL, 500 million users, but this can be edited, and I'm going to show you how. So right here at the top of your page, okay, it says edit public profile and URL. You can click there. It takes you to a separate page. I stay in the same spot right here in the top right. Here's the pencil. You take out all the alphanumeric, and it's Deanna Clark, or Deanna H. Clark, or Deanna Clark 23. If you can't just use first and last name, then use a small way to differentiate between you and the other person who might have your first and last name. But that's important because people are looking at your profile and they're going to look at your URL, and it's going to start telling them things about you. How serious are you about networking? How serious are you about connecting? How serious are you about your job search? Doing these little things to show your professionalism, to show the seriousness of where you're at, are very important. I'm a big fan of movies. And so the movie, Any Given Sunday, has a great line in it. The game of inches. LinkedIn is a game of inches. I'm going to take every inch I can. I don't need to go for home runs. I don't need to go for the long bomb. I want a game of inches. I want steady improvement. And so this is one of those ways that you can steadily improve. Let's go in here. I'm going to show you some editing stuff here. So again, first name, last name, pretty self-explanatory. Your headline. I see this especially with a lot of my senior NCOs and senior officers, okay? In their headline, I see things like operations manager, talent acquisition, personnel manager, project manager, and they list about 5 or 6 things that they're good at. We are good at all those things, but your LinkedIn profile is a lot like a resume. It needs to be targeted. You need to kind of tell people what they're looking at. So my recommendation to all of you is to narrow it down to the thing you want to do. If you are in school to become, a project or a business manager or a project manager, and you're working on your PMP, and put your project management down there, project management professional, right? Obviously in my role, I have a different role. I'm not job seeking, right? I'm advertising what I do. Veteran career transition service counselor and manager. I'm a veteran and military spouse advocate and a veteran. These little stars in between here, they don't have to be there. A lot of people use vertical lines. It doesn't matter. If you don't know how to put those symbols there, and I didn't, I found someone's page who had them. I copied it and I pasted it and I changed the words. And I kept the symbols. It was really easy. But anyway, that's that. If you look at Mike Quinn's, he's just got the vertical lines. He and I have argued a couple times about which is better. I stand by I like my stars. Okay. If you still have an active TSSCI or an active clearance and you're looking for employment that requires that stuff, this is a great place to put that you have an active top secret SCI or an active clearance, okay? Current position, this can be your current position. This is a place where you can put things like transitioning service member, okay? If you're still in the transition window, if you haven't started working yet, that's a great thing to do here. Otherwise, it's your current position. This stuff is all pretty self-explanatory. Down here, I want to give you guys a couple of tidbits. If I go down this at the very bottom, there's another pencil. 2 things: my phone number and my birthday. First and foremost, that's not my actual cell phone number. It is an actual cell phone number. So Verizon gave me a cell phone number. It's the one Deanna has because we're friends, right? I just turned on there we go. However, I also have a Google Voice number. Now, Google Voice is what I use for my business, for still serving veterans. It provides me standoff. As a job seeker, it provides you standoff. You're never going to, you may not have the number to every recruiter. And so they have access to you 24/7 to call you, but they have to say their name before you answer. You can either send them to voicemail or answer. That provides you some standoff. So that's why I like a third-party app. In addition to that, if you look right here, I have listed my cell phone number as work. That's a little play on society. When most people read that that's a work number, they think Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And although it won't eliminate the stupid phone calls at 8 o'clock at night on a Sunday, it does mitigate them, okay? Next thing's next. March 20th is my birthday. No, I don't care about presents. I'm far too old to care about celebrating birthdays, okay? However, like I said earlier, I'm a billboard. I've got just over I got almost 2,300 connections on LinkedIn. At least once a year, 2,300 people are going to be reminded of who I am. So Bill might be sitting at his desk and say, hey, Eric Brew, isn't he that guy that helps veterans find employment? Didn't we have a position open up? Jim, let's get a hold of Eric. Let's find out. We've just got this position that opened up. It's a long shot, but it's a game of inches, and I'll take every shot I can. Gretzky said something about that once. I think he said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Okay, so take the shots you need. Okay, so that's that. Simple little tweaks. Discard. Okay, your about section. This is where we really get into the opinion and conjecture. Okay, you're going to hear two main schools of thought about the about section. First one, you are afforded 2,000 characters. That's how large that section is. You can write up to 2,000 characters in your about section. And I have sat in classes by other professionals that teach this stuff, and I have heard things like, it should look just like your resume. Don't waste a single character. It should be, as long as it can be. Tell them everything about yourself. That is a school of thought, and I'm not going to say anything disparaging about it. I'm going to tell you why I don't go with that. I like 3 to 5 sentences, maybe a couple of short paragraphs. If you see, mine is 2 very short paragraphs. A short paragraph about what I did for 24 years, and a short paragraph about what I currently do. That's it. Mostly because I don't want to force someone to read for 10 minutes to find out more about me. I would prefer that we talk for 10 minutes. So I would rather write something that's a little intriguing and makes them kind of want to know more. And if this is my resume, then why do I have a resume? And if I don't have a resume, then how are you going to ask me if I want to come in for an interview? And so there are things that we need. And so I believe in building a breadcrumb trail. Here's my about, nibble on that. It tastes good, but it's not filling. So come down here, get some more, and keep learning more and more about me. Oh, by the way, here's my resume. And my resume is even a little vague, although it's quantifiable and enumerated, it's still a little vague. So this Eric guy is really, I got to talk to him. We got to figure out more about this guy. And that's how I drag people to me, okay? So about a couple of don'ts. Okay, we talked about wrong answers, okay? Wrong answers. Here we go. Misspellings, poor punctuation, poor grammar. Okay, those are big no-nos. Here is an author's trick. If you want to know that you've written something correctly, read it out loud. Okay? When you read something out loud, your brain plays a trick on itself. Your brain is making your mouth form the words, which scientifically speaking is the hardest thing the brain has to do, is speak. It's why when people like me who have TBIs go in for TBI treatment, we go to a speech pathologist, because that's who treats brain injury. So when you're forcing your brain to speak it, you're also tricking your brain by making your brain have to hear it, listen to it, and interpret it. And so when you type the wrong form of there, although it's spelled right, your brain will catch it when it hears it. It's like, wait, that's not the right way. Or when you use a comma in the wrong spot, or you forget the Oxford comma. Please don't ever forget the Oxford comma. It's important, people. Use an Oxford comma. But when you do that, your brain will catch it. So read things out loud. One more thing that's a big no-no right here. Top buzzwords. Those are that's a list of a conglomeration of 2018 and 2019's list of top buzzwords. Some of them were duplicated. The same top buzzword was in 2018 as it was in 2019. All right. But this is not good. Guys, if everyone's walking around in a blue overcoat, pop a red umbrella. Be somebody different. Say things a different way. The English language is rich with opportunities to say things in a different way. So describe what you do, articulate what you do in a different way. Don't be a blue raincoat. 2020's top buzzwords have not been released yet, but I guarantee you a phrase will be on there, and it will be servant leader. And if I ask people what a servant leader is, if I ask all of you what a servant leader is, I'm going to get 12 different answers. It's not really a thing, and civilian business knows it. That's a military thing. We like to sell ourselves as servant leaders, but that's not really a civilian thing. So at any rate, stay away from the buzzwords. Featured is a great place to put your resume. Okay, now quick plug. I write resumes for still serving veterans as well. If you need help with employment services, please give us a call. We got you. Anyway, my opinion is this: there are several different types of resumes. I think you should have 3 on your LinkedIn page as a service member or as a veteran. You should have a functional resume, which is a much shorter, condensed version of a resume. It's a little bit more technical. You should have a chronological resume, which takes you from staff sergeant all the way down to private, or captain all the way down to lieutenant, or whatever. Okay? And then you should have your federal. Even if you're not interested in federal employment, it would be considered like a master. Everything you've done. If you have those 3 on your LinkedIn, you're giving recruiters an opportunity to see whatever it is they want to see. They may like a functional, or they may like a chronological. They may like a chronological, but they might really like your federal, and they may just use it as a resume. There's not a law that says because you called it a federal resume, they can't use it. It's still just a resume. Okay? And so here's the important piece: naming convention. In a naming convention, I can tell a recruiter or a hiring authority some very simple things. Okay? 4 things. Number 1, whose resume is it? It's Eric Brew's. Number 2, what is Eric Brew a professional of, and what am I going to learn about him? Operations and training management. That's what they're going to learn about me. That's what I'm going to talk about. Number 3, what type of resume is this? It's a functional resume. And number 4, well, how recent is it? October 2020. So they've learned 4 things about what type of a resume before they've ever even opened it. If I had a chronological up there, it would say Eric Brew, Operations and Training Management, chronological resume, October 2020. Eric Brew, federal resume, October 2020. Okay? So naming convention is important because it can save recruiters time, and therefore they're a little bit more appreciative that you didn't waste their time. They didn't have to dig through a resume to figure it out. It's also a place where you can put things to provide context. I don't talk a lot about this. This is an article that was written about my platoon in Afghanistan when I was a young platoon sergeant. It provides some context as to what type of a leader I am. I don't expect anyone to stop and read it. I don't think anybody ever has. But it's up there for context if anybody wants to read it. Your dashboard is where you find the pulse of your page, the pulse of your profile. Okay, right here is where you judge the health. If these numbers are exceptionally low, we need to look at your profile. We need to figure out what's going on. We need to figure out your activity. How much are you posting? How much are you interacting? Post views is reset. I think it's every 3 days or 4 days. Okay, this is reset. This is a constant 90-day moving target, so it's constantly 90 days just shifting. And then search appearances, I think, is 7 days. I think it resets every 7 days. So how many search appearances I ran in? I personally made it through the sifter on 337 in the last 7 days. Okay, I'll show you this. This is kind of cool. So it comes up with a graph if you've never seen this, and it'll show you by weeks. There's a week in between each one of these dots where you had, peaks and valleys. I can tell you that each one of these peaks has come immediately following a vets to industry networking circuit. And if we get some time after this, I'll plug vets to industry a little bit, because my brother is my brother from another mother is the CEO of that organization, and so I want to plug them a little bit. But anyway, that's where you check that. Another cool thing is that you can see here who has looked at your profile. Okay, if you go to my profile, your name and picture show up. I see it. And if we're not connected, guess what? You're getting a connection request. Okay, unless you look like not today ISIS, right? I've had a few of those. All right, so let's go back. Deanna, how am I doing on time? About 30 more minutes? We're doing good.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. So right here, this is one of my favorite pieces of this little thing. Guys, this activity box, this is my proof positive that LinkedIn is not social media. Because when I open up Instagram, when I open up Snap, when I open up Facebook, when I open up any of those social media things, those platforms, the first thing that gets me is the feed. Who posted what when, who liked what when, who hearted what when, who hashtagged what when, who dropped what picture. That is what comes up. Boom, boom, boom. Always. When you open up LinkedIn, you have to go to the home to see a feed, or you have to go here on my page to see what I've posted. They keep my feed in a box. And I've actually talked to Corey Boatwright. Corey Boatwright's one of the leaders of the military programs for LinkedIn. And Corey and I have had a couple of great conversations. And I've told him, I said, this is genius. He says, yeah, we know. That's why we did it, right? This is an intentional thing by LinkedIn to keep it away from that social media look, okay? So there's that. This will just tell you, what you've posted, and this is where it'll keep everything. Okay, let's talk about experience. Experience is important. I'm gonna drop all the way down to my military time, and let me use that as an example. Okay, here we go. Here's a good one. So for however long you served, again, whether it was 4 years or 34 years, you were a part of a very small club. Less than 1% of the American population will ever raise their right hand, don a uniform, and serve this country. Now, that's something that you should be very proud of. But in reality, what that means is when you step outside the gate into civilian sector, more than 99% of the population does not understand your language, cannot relate to where you've been or what you've been through, and certainly doesn't know what you bring to the table. They just can't understand it. And so it becomes a problem of translation. How do I take my military experience and translate it to civilian speak, civilianese, right? And so here's how I do this. And this is one of the things we do with the resumes. And I'm a firm believer that this is exactly what you should be doing on your LinkedIn. If you look at my title, okay, we'll take the title as something super simple: Senior Personnel and Training Manager. That speaks to the 99%. Jane Public, Jane HR, John Smith, John on the street, they can read that and they know what that is. A Senior Personnel and Training Manager, Manager of Personnel and Manager of Training. Okay, cool, I understand that. But in truth, I could be dealing with an old retired sergeant major who's a hiring authority in HR, and he doesn't know what a senior personnel, what the hell is that, kid? So in parentheses, I'm gonna put first sergeant. Here I'm speaking to the 99%. Here I'm speaking to the 1%. In respect, I put the 99% first because number one, they're in my windshield. The 1%'s in my rearview mirror. So they have to take a back seat. They don't get that respect anymore. They don't get that clout. Where I'm going gets that clout. Because these people who knew me as First Sergeant Brew, none of them are paying my damn bills. They're not cutting checks to me anymore. So they don't get that from me. All right. So that's a way to work on your civilianized or your civilianese title. Let's see here. Senior Personnel Manager who manages administration, logistics, and taskings of 18 personnel, oversight of 900 initial training personnel, blah, blah, blah. It's just a way to verbalize it. Okay. Things like human capital, things like diverse teams, things like cross-functional teams. Those are things that to most of us in the service are a Tuesday. I've got my last company that I was a first sergeant for had 327 little bubbles running around, 36 different MOSs for a task force HHC. There aren't a lot of people that can handle an organization. That's bigger than most companies in the Chattahoochee Valley region. That's bigger than most companies here. So those are things you need to highlight. Those are things that you need to show. And I can help with that stuff too. Let's talk about pictures. I love pictures. Pictures are great. We have sayings about pictures. Stuff like, a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? I don't want to write 1,000 words on my LinkedIn page. I keep telling you, I want to use brevity. I can say 1,000 words without having to type them. Okay? And I do that with pictures. Now, here's the problem with a lot of us. Infantry first sergeant. Most people think about me and they think about what I've done. They see the tattoos and the bald head and the crazy homeless guy looking beard, and they're thinking rigid, veteran, knife hands, F-bombs, mean, aggressive, right? But I don't want them to see me that way. I'm going to take on a managerial role within your organization. I'm applying for a manager. I need you to know that I can handle people in a way that isn't F-bombs and knife hands. I need you to know that I'm a good manager. Pictures are a way to do that because pictures have a psychological effect when people look at them. A couple of things that someone could, and these aren't rules, but someone could glean from looking at this very simple picture. These guys right here, look, Eric knows how to keep people in line. Look at that rucksack. Eric can carry the heavy load. But really important, look at that sunset. Eric appreciates beauty. Eric takes a moment to appreciate beauty. Those are things that soften the image of Eric as a veteran. Okay, take every chance you can get. You know, we were talking about I wrote this LinkedIn about personnel and training, right? I can go into, diversity and inclusion. I can go to I can change this whole thing up based on 24 years. I can make this whole thing different. I can talk about 6 different other positions and completely redo my LinkedIn page to show a different profession because I've done a lot of different things. So here we go. This is operations and training management. Here's Eric training. This is back when Eric had hair. All right, that's before Eric had teenagers. But look, now Eric again is keeping people in line, right? He's training. He's clearly instructing. So this fits to what I'm trying to tell people I'm good at. But there's other things that can be pulled. Now, just like the first picture, there's the sunset and the beauty. But look at this. Eric can break down cultural barriers, language barriers, racial barriers. And in today's society where we're at right now as a country, that's super important. We as a veteran community have an opportunity to teach this country a lesson right now. We have an opportunity to show things and show people how diverse we can be, how we can band together and close arms and close ranks around each other and protect each other and look out for each other. This country needs that right now. So we need to show them what we can do, right? We need to show them that we're diverse. We need to show them we don't care. You're a brother and a sister because you're a brother and a sister, period. Okay, that's enough of that. I'll get off that soapbox. Certificates and licenses, very important. It's important if it applies to what you're trying to do. So if you're trying to become a project manager and you have a PMP, this is where you put your PMP. You can also put it up at the top, but this is one of the places you just put your PMP. I work with veterans, and so I've got my creating a military-friendly culture and onboarding program, creating a military spouse and hiring program. These are classes I've taken through Psych Armor, and then I've got all of my, my LinkedIn classes. This is one that I had to take right here, Managing High Potentials. If any one of you have ever met my staff, okay, this staff that I have that's still serving veterans, I'm telling you right now, it's like I'm looking back at my military career. I was never the fastest. I was never the strongest. I was never the smartest. I was never the most talented, but I always surrounded myself with great people. And so that's what made me successful. That is what's happening here at Still Serving Veterans. I'm dealing with a whole bunch of high potentials. And so I need to learn how to manage them. I need to know how to keep Dory busy because Dory is off the chain. I mean, Dory will knock out 17 tasks in the day and be like, hey, boss, it's 9:30. What else you got for me? I mean, she's killing it. So I've got to make sure I understand how to keep them busy. So I take these little classes, and they're good. And I'm going to send you a link that has the LinkedIn learning on it as well. Okay, volunteer experience. This is another great opportunity for you to set a picture of yourself. Okay, I don't have any pictures. I don't really know why. I guess I should, but a great opportunity to show a different side of yourself. For instance, coaching. If you've done any youth coaching, specifically and I'm sorry, ladies, but specifically if you're a man, if you've done youth coaching, we tend to be a little gruff. Again, we tend to be a little knife handy. We tend to be a little rigid, right? We can be a little aggressive. But if I can get a wrestling team of 93 kids at practice and learning moves, if I can get 11 little bubbas on a football field to march down the field towards an end zone, I can lead civilians because they're just like kids. I just have to be careful that I don't hurt little Johnny's feelings. I just have to be careful that, little Johnny isn't picking the flowers in the field. If I can do those things, I can manage other people. But it affords you an opportunity to set a tone for who you are. It shows that you have a softer managerial style. Skills and endorsements. Here's an opportunity for you to learn from my mistakes. Eric screwed this up. You'll notice that my numbers here are very, very low. They are low because I did not realize when I was building my profile, I didn't realize how important skills or the endorsement piece was. Okay, let me describe this for you. You get 50. You can list 50 things, okay? My recommendation is if you are in the process of building your profile, you reach out to people when it's done. I'm saying this right now, when your profile is complete, you reach out to people and you say, hey, Bill, I know we served together back in, 2015. I really appreciate all your leadership. I see that you're on LinkedIn. I would really appreciate any endorsements you can send my way on my page. Those things are important. People look at that. They want to see how many times you've been endorsed. Where Eric screwed up, and I teach this stuff, guys, so this is where I really screwed up because now it's a little late for me to be asking for endorsements. Okay? So any endorsement I have here, I have not asked for. I've not solicited because I'm a little embarrassed now at this point in the game to go back and ask for endorsements, all right? But go and ask for these endorsements. Pick your top 3 carefully. This is your top 3 right here. You're going to be able to take any 3 of the 50 down here and move them up to the top. Let's make sure of 2 things. Number 1, make sure you're actually good at that thing. Okay, that's real important. If you are a horrible, time management personnel, don't put time management on there. Okay, so make sure you're an honest broker and you put things you're actually talented at, you're actually good at, and then make sure they speak to what it is you're targeting your LinkedIn page to look at. Okay. For those of us in the military, we've been out for the military. Look, you're going to see military here, 1 time mentioned, and you're going to see DOD active secret clearance. The rest of this stuff is all pretty civilianized. Why? Because of my windshield. I'm not looking in my rearview mirror. I can look in my rearview mirror to remind myself of lessons I've learned and things I needed to remember. I can look back and kind of grab those things quick, but I don't focus on. These are the things I'm focusing on, okay? And then recommendations. Recommendations are very important. Please, please, please. Guys, look, 2 promises. Number 1, if we connect on LinkedIn and you ever ask me for endorsements, hit me up on LinkedIn, ask me for an endorsement. I'll gladly endorse you. Number 2, if you want me to write a recommendation for you, I will gladly do that. But you got to ask. I don't know what I don't know. So if you want to reach out to me and ask for a recommendation, that's great. But recommendations are great, specifically from 3 groups of people. People you've worked for, people you've worked alongside, and people that have worked for you. For me, I've been blessed. I've had a couple of clients who've written incredible reviews for me, and it's been super nice to me. But this is a great place for you guys to start showing people you have recommendations. Interest is pretty simple. This is all of the pages and the groups that you've liked, the people you're following, things like that. So people can look through there. It's also a great way for you to find people with common interests. Okay, and start building that network based on common interest. One thing I forgot that I want to go back up to the top and show you guys is this little section right here. Now, this is not new, but a new format for LinkedIn. And this is how you tell people that you are open for employment. These little boxes right here. So we're going to click on this box. It's pretty cool. Here we go. This is where you get to fill in the stuff that goes with this. Right here, you get to choose up to 5 job titles. Now, if you've narrowed it down to 1, make it 1. If you're a little unsure, this is a place that you can kind of be a little bit more open. I would like to see that they're kind of in the same field, 5 jobs in the same field. Maybe we find actual job descriptions or job announcements and take their job title and put it in there. That would be smart. Okay, so that's the job titles. You can have up to 5. Job locations, again, you can have up to 5. Here is how I break these down. This is my advice to you. The first 3 are the 3 cities, areas that are closest to either where you are staying or where you want to go. If I'm currently in Columbus, Georgia, but I want to move to Miami, I'm going to choose Miami and 2 other cities around Miami. Okay, that's how I'm going to classify those first 3. The 4th one, United States. Very broad, but you never know where the opportunity could come from. I was never going to stay in Columbus, Georgia. No offense to any of you, but I spent the last 6 years of my career at Fort Benning. I wanted out of Columbus, Georgia. I wanted to go to a beach. I wanted to be in the panhandle of Florida. I started my career 24 years ago as a Marine. I still have a lot of water left in my system, and I love to be in the water. So I wanted to go to Florida. And it wasn't until Still Serving Veterans offered me a position as an intern that I kind of had to start to shift my priorities. And so location became less important. Okay. So United States is a great way to put it, because you may not plan on ever living in Wichita, Kansas, but the job you just could not turn down might be there. Okay. So three cities of where you are, where you're staying, or where you want to go, the United States. And then the fifth one, put your dream spot. If it's Melbourne, Australia, put Melbourne, Australia. For me, it's Puerto Rico. All right. I know Deanna's heard this before, and I've asked her on several occasions not to say anything to my girl. But listen, guys, if someone called me tomorrow and said, "Hey, man, we have a job position just for you in Puerto Rico," I am having a hard time saying no. I love the island. I love the food. I love the people. I love the culture. I love the water. I love everything about it. I've been there a whole bunch of times. I'm in love with Puerto Rico. When I retire, if Shaquita allows me to, that's where we're going. Okay. That is my goal, right? Puerto Rico. So 3 places you are or want to be: the United States, and then your dream spot. This is very important. Not so much for any of you. I don't think I have anybody. No, Deanna, nobody in here is transitioning, right? We've all transitioned. Okay. So if you are open to work, right, and you're ready to work right now, immediately, I'm actively applying. If you want to take some time, don't put that, because you're going to confuse people. Put flexible, I'm casually browsing. What I will tell you, for those of you who are already in the civilian force, if you are currently employed and you're looking, and you put immediately, I'm actively applying, and your boss goes on your LinkedIn page, they're going to know you did that, because it's going to put a green frame around your picture with the words #open to work. I know this because one of the first classes I was teaching about this, I did it as to show the class what I was doing. I forgot to take it down. And the next day I got a phone call from my CEO asking why I was looking for new employment. I was not. So don't put yourself in that position to dime yourself out too early. Okay. That's where private messages come in. That's where connecting with recruiters comes in. That's where doing stuff kind of on the fly comes in. Don't dime yourself out too early if you're already employed. And then the last thing I'll show you is who sees it. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. No, that happens when you do share with all LinkedIn members. That's when it puts the green banner on it. Here's where I'm getting at. If you say with recruiters only, you don't get this. Okay. But if you do that,
You're not showing us, Eric.
You can't see my screen?
No, we see your smiling face.
No, I see the screen.
Oh, maybe it's my computer. Hold on. I lied. I'm wrong. It's me.
Okay, cool. No big deal. So share with recruiters only will not put the banner. Okay, I've got to retract what I said earlier. Share with recruiters only will not put the green banner. But if you're open to work, you might be cutting yourself out of HR authorities, other people. People are looking to hire that aren't necessarily classified as recruiters, on top of which this open to recruiters only means that they have a recruiter's account on LinkedIn. And not every business pays for a recruiter's account for their recruiters, because they're expensive. So you might have recruiters that don't have a recruiter's account, they're not going to see it. But again, if you do put share with all LinkedIn members, you are going to get that green banner, and you might alert your employer that you're leaving, okay? Or you want to leave. So that's that. Now, we've gone all the way down this thing. Helpful links. This is what I'm getting at. Now, again, if you guys are cool with it, Deanna gives me your email address. I will email you guys all these notes, okay? But the LinkedIn helpful websites, these are pretty cool. This is the free premium account for veterans, okay? Now, you guys are all veterans, so if anybody has a spouse that they want to try this one right here out for me on, and then let me know. I don't have a spouse yet, so I don't have anyone to test this on. I'm a veteran. This says I know it was originated for active duty spouses for when they PCS. LinkedIn would give them a free year when they PCS. That's what the idea behind the program was. I don't know if it still applies, and I don't know if it applies to veteran spouses. So if anyone has a spouse that they want to try this on, shoot me a message and let me know. Let's see here. LinkedIn optimization is pretty cool. What that does, you can take a job announcement, okay, off of LinkedIn and your profile, and it will match up your profile like you would do with a resume. It'll match up your profile with the job announcement to tell you by percentage how close you are, okay? And again, it's a computer, so take it with a grain of salt. LinkedIn Learning is what I was telling you about. This is the link. You can also get there by just clicking right here on Learning, top right corner. But a lot of hundreds of thousands of different classes in there, really good stuff. Lots of great classes to learn something. I am a bit of a nerd, so I do like to learn a lot, okay? LinkedIn job search. This is the job search tool for LinkedIn, right? This is where we get into the Indeeds and the Glassdoors and the Job Heroes. That's what that is. And then the salary tool. Now, salary tool is a little bit, and I've got to give you guys a warning. The salary tool is cool because you can look at by demographic and by your profile and with your experience, what should you be expecting to make in a certain location. What I do not recommend is that when you go through the hiring process and it ebb and flows, and then you get an offer letter, and the offer letter has less money on it than you thought it should, I would not respond with, well, the LinkedIn salary tool said, because nobody's going to listen to that. Nobody cares. So it's a way for you to get a roundabout-ish number, and that's it, okay? But that's kind of a cool tool because it kind of gives you an idea about demographics. Now, I've got 8 minutes, and I'm right on time. So here's what we're going to talk about next. I'm going to close this, and we're going to talk about weaponizing this thing a little bit. I guess I am going to speak like an infantryman just a little bit. So here we go. Now we've built our profile. Everything is up and running. I don't go out in town. I don't go out in public unless I'm dressed appropriately. You should do the same thing with your LinkedIn profile. If your LinkedIn profile is not appropriately dressed, that means all of your sections aren't filled out. You haven't had it checked. You haven't had it spell checked. You haven't ran it past somebody. Don't start liking a bunch of pages. Don't start connecting with a bunch of people. Don't ask for recommendations or endorsements. Wait until it's good and then get it out in public because it's your first impression. People are going to remember. If your stuff's all jacked up, they're going to know. Okay? So once we get everything done, we start talking about how do I make myself known? How do I get out there? How do people know who I am? You do exactly what Deanna Clark does, because I'll tell you what, she is a monster on LinkedIn when it comes to posting. Every stinking time I turn around and looked at LinkedIn, and guys, I'm on LinkedIn about 4 to 5 hours a day. I see Deanna Clark posted, Deanna Clark shared, Deanna Clark liked, boom, 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 down the page. You have to engage. You have to engage with posts that are out there. You have to write posts. You have to comment on posts. Being a keyboard warrior and simply running down your feed and hitting like on different stuff, it does nothing. No one except for the person who wrote the post will even know that you saw it. You have got to do more if you're going to trick the algorithm of LinkedIn. The algorithm is you have to comment.
In my defense, it's because of your boss. He was the one that told me to do that.
Oh, Charlie?
Yes, he was the one that told me to do that. I met with him.
What do you think about him?
He was the one. Well, I'm just saying it wasn't me that came up with the idea for me to actually respond to posts. He was the one that told me to do that.
It's huge because, so check this out. I guess we got a couple minutes. Let's talk about networking. Spiderweb network, okay? Check this out. Let me show you guys something. If I go right here on my page and I hit my 500 plus contacts or connections, okay? About 2,200. That's low ball. I mean, it's like 2,280. Anyway, that's what I've got. If I go up here, these are my firsts. Every one of these 2,200-ish people are people I am personally connected with. Either I sent them a connection request or they sent me one and we are connected. We are first. A second is anyone Deanna's connected with that I'm not connected with. That would become a second, okay? If I go up here and hit this first, and I click on my second, take my first off, and I hit apply, watch that 2,200. Roughly 1 million people. Roughly 1 million people are 1 degree of separation away from being connected to me. So the way I spend my first 15 minutes of every day is I run through my seconds. Ooh, Chief Executive Officer of Martin Army Community Hospital. I think I'd like to meet him. We're going to add a note because we always add a note when we send a connection. We never send a blind connection. Look at this. I have got pre-written notes. Do you know why? Because I've got 2,300 connections. So when I send a connection request, I make sure I just do this. Good afternoon, yada, yada, yada. Paste. I make sure it is actually afternoon. It is. And I hit send. And now he's got a quick snippet about Eric Brew and why I'm sending him a connection request. Very easy. There is the Chief Executive Officer of Martin Army Community Hospital. Let's see if I can get him on board. Let's make him a client, huh? Okay, so I spend my first 15 minutes of my day going through my seconds. Oh, I see you're also connected to Deanna Clark. I'd love to connect with you. Very simple, all right? So that's a way to do it, what I like to call a spider web connection, like a spider web connection tree. Because every time I make a second, a first, their second, or their first become my second. And then I just keep building, and as I keep building it in, it keeps going out and out and out. My connections get bigger, my network gets bigger. Speaking of network, a little saying, a little ditty, it's actually the name of a book. Your network is your net worth. Okay, so try to keep that in mind. It's one thing to have a big network. I can boast a 2,300 person network, but make sure it's the right network. Okay, every one of us had that friend that we served with, right? That like you can have him over to the backyard barbecue, but you don't take him into public, right? Because he's that guy. And if you don't have that friend, guess you are that friend. Okay, so be careful. But if you have that friend, those are not the people you want on LinkedIn. This is a professional platform. So reach out to the people that you know are professional, that are in the same field as you. You can reach out to recruiters and HR directors. If I want to be an operations manager for Amazon, I might reach out to other operations managers in Amazon. One of the greatest things you can say to somebody is, I could really use a mentor. Hey, Deanna, I see that you work at Amazon. I want to work at Amazon. I would love to get some information about how you did it and what your story is. Would you mind mentoring me? The one thing that nobody wants to hear in their first message is, do you have a job for me? Recruiters don't want to hear it. HR directors don't want to hear it. People don't want to hear that. Hand me a job. Nobody wants that. You need to be able to build and cultivate relationships on this thing. Okay? I need to be able to reach out to Amina and say, hey, how's Charles? I don't know that that's a husband. I'm just making up a name here. You know, how are the kids? How are the dogs? I need to cultivate relationships. And that gets harder. It's hard with 2,300 connections. Some of them have fallen off. Some of them are a little bit more ancillary. But the ones who have helped my clients the most, guess what? I talk to them on the phone. I email. We share laughs. I send them gifts, not gifts, but gifts to make them laugh, right? We have a relationship, okay? It's why during my class yesterday, because I teach this same class every other Wednesday at 13:30, it's why yesterday I had 2 Air Force TAP classes. There were almost 60 people in that class just between those 2 classes, because I built a relationship with the TAP program managers. Because when we go through TAP, we don't get told that there's 40,000 veteran nonprofits in the United States. We don't get told that there's all this assistance and all this help for us. We don't get told that it's all out there and all we have to do is find the right place. Brian Arrington is the CEO and founder of Vets to Industry. It's one of the largest repositories or libraries of veteran nonprofits in the nation. It's all online. Vets to Industry. But what Brian built was a library so you can look up by state, by region, by nation, where these nonprofits are. Where do I get assistance? It's classified by this or it's classified by that. We've partnered with Brian. Brian and I have signed an MOU. We have a memorandum of understanding. We are partners. We are his employment arm. So when he gets clients that need employment assistance, they come to Still Serving Veterans. But see, here's the problem. For 24 years, I served. For about 20 years of that, I was a leader. So for 20 years, I let soldiers get out of the military. They separated from the Army. They walked away. And out of ignorance, I didn't tell them where all the assistance was. I didn't tell them where they could look for help. And so here's the downside, and this is what I have to live with every single day, is out of that number of people, and I don't know what that number is, but out of that number of people, I don't know how many of them are underemployed, how many of them are unemployed, how many of them are homeless, how many of them are on drugs, how many of them are part of the 22 veterans a day that are taking their own lives. So I don't have those numbers. And so we have to do something to make sure that people like you guys, people like our transitioning service members, know that there's all kinds of assistance out there from all different angles. This is just one, excuse me, that's the client, guys. This is just one avenue. My organization is one avenue. There are hundreds and thousands of them out there. So with that being said, Deanna, I'll open it up to questions. I kind of rambled a little bit. I apologize. You put me on a time clock and that threw me off, but you know how I am. I got a squirrel once in a while.
That's no problem. You know what? I appreciate it. I think that at least every person learned one thing. I definitely will tell you guys that this is now the second time I'm hearing this, obviously a more condensed version of this. And as we were working his screen is over here, I am over here looking at my LinkedIn. So I just will let you know that. It is definitely, Gabriel said something about, he told us his LinkedIn name and said, but I'm going to be working on my LinkedIn. I will tell you that it is a continual process. When I took this class in August, Eric, I think, I can't remember.
Yeah, I think so.
Had about 110 maybe connections. I'm up to almost 300 now. And I'm communicating with some marketing people in Verizon. And so, just all of that to say, this class is helpful. The LinkedIn seminar is helpful. The classes that Still Serving Vets hosts is also very helpful. Everyone that wants to connect with Eric, you can either connect through him directly, or if you have sent me your email, I'm going to send him an email address that has that has all of your names on, all of your emails on it, and he's going to reach out to you personally. If he doesn't, I'll get him, don't worry.
It'll be done before I leave the office today.
Because as soon as this closes, I'm going to send the email just to give people the opportunity to actually have time to connect or to send it to me. But if you do have a question, go ahead and ask now. I will open up the floor and close my mouth.
Yeah, guys, I see there's questions in here. I don't have my glasses on, so you guys have to be really nice to me. I see there are questions in the chat, but if you guys can unmute, just like there's no like formality here. If you guys want to just ask questions, I'm down to answer them. Whatever you got.
So I don't see any specific questions yet. That's why I'll go ahead and just be quiet.
Okay.
Hello, Eric. My name is Francesca Long, and I do have a question. Excuse the noise in the background. I'm homeschooling, virtual learning with my nephew. But okay. I do have a question I'm not necessarily looking for a job. I'm getting more into starting my own business, and I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to like set up my profile.
I guess that really depends on what you're trying to do.
Build connections, because what you were talking about is being. Okay, all right. So I'm an accounting major, so my goal is to have my own tax office one day. So I'm trying to build that out at some point.
Okay.
So I guess it's.
I've got a couple, like, I'll tell you who's really good at that. And I love deferring because I'm a big fan of delegation. So we did great as senior leaders, right? But
right.
but my regional director, Charles Living, is a guru at entrepreneurial stuff.
Okay.
Absolute guru. If you want, make sure that Deanna gets me your email address, and we'll talk, and I'll get you set up with Charles. It's super easy, guys. We're right here, and on top of which, we're not even letting anybody come in the office. We do everything over the phone or Zoom. It's so easy. We don't require, all I need from you is a DD-214, because we're primarily funded by the Call of Duty endowment. So when you guys play Call of Duty, I don't know if anybody plays Call of Duty. When you guys play that video game, that helps pay our bills. Okay, so their philanthropy is what funds us. Them and Boeing are two main ones. But we don't charge for anything. So it doesn't matter how many times you guys call. It doesn't matter how many resumes I have my staff write or I write. It doesn't matter how work. or how long. We just got a great note. I love it. We got a great note from a client. He's been with us for 5 years. He just wanted to send a note, say, hey, thanks for still checking in on me. The girls are still reaching out to him 5 years later and saying, hey, buddy, how you doing? What's the latest with you? How's your mom and them? You from the South know that saying, right? How's your mom and them?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, Francesca, listen, just let's connect. Let's get you with Charles, because he can, not only will he help you with like walking through the LinkedIn piece for an entrepreneur, but he can also help you with business plan and things like that.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question, Eric. I moved down here just specifically to go to CSU for the nursing program, and I have a medical coding certification, but at the time when I got it, I was still pregnant, so nobody would give me internships. So I really just want to find a way to get experience with coding, not so much pay, but just because it's an extra certification that I really don't want to lose while trying to get my nursing degree as well.
Okay.
Plus, I just moved down here, so I'm not really familiar with the area.
So we've got a pretty good connection with the Jack Houston Clinic. Charlie's actually, and Charlie's been in this area for like, I don't know, he's 147 years old. He's been here forever. You know what I mean? The guy's old as dirt. But he's got a good connection with them. We as a company have a good connection with them. But I'm gonna tell you honestly, kid, look, internships, paid positions, everything's tough right now. It's tough. I mean, COVID is, especially in the medical world. I mean, the business is booming, but hiring is tough. So, but let's get you connected, and let's see, because what happens is when you guys become, so let's, I don't want to spend this whole time talking about still serving veterans or trying to sign anybody up as clients, but I don't charge anything, so it's really kind of easy. Once we get you on board, then what we have is we have a program called Constant Contact. It's an email system that Kim Wood, she's my mil-spouse counselor and my kind of like my digital outreach manager, right? She floods your email with opportunities, job postings, things we've learned. And I know that the Jack Houston Clinic sends us sheets all the time. So that's something we can help with. But guys, that's super easy. That's as easy as like just calling down the office and be like, hey, I want to be a client.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, cool. You know, and I tell people this all the time. Like, I love the fact that I don't have to be that dirtbag first sergeant who worked at the used car lot and like hung his Class A's in the corner to get Joe's to come in and charge him 27% for a 95 Corolla.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, we don't charge you anything. It's all free. We're not gonna ask for anything. So it's a matter of coming down and like, or give us a call or emailing me, and I'll have one of the girls reach out to you. We make it super easy.
Okay.
Super easy. But internships are tough. I'm going to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Internships are tough. Because so many people are looking for work.
Well, that's the thing, is I didn't get any actual experience with it. So everyone keeps asking me, oh, well, hey, how much experience do you have with this? Like, well, I mean, I'm really familiar with the medical terminology since I was a medic and a nurse before I got out. So it's
sounds like we need to get a resume done for you that's translated in a way that people can go, oh crap, she's got some experience.
I have one, but it was from Virginia, and the lady just kind of threw it together, so it's not a great resume.
Nope, you need to come see us.
Okay.
Virtually.
Yeah.
So Jessica, I may have also actually just reached out to a contact that I know at Piedmont who is a talent acquisition partner to find out if there are any internships for medical coding. I may have just done that. I don't know. I'll let you know.
Okay. Thank you very much.
See, guys, look, this is what happens. This is what happens. This is called networking. These are why these events are so vital. Brian Arrington and V2I, every third week, they do a thing called a networking circuit. 250 people in a room just like this for 5 hours with recruiters and VSOs, veteran service officers, and HR directors and transitioning service members and old veterans, and a whole 250 people. And every 30 or 40 minutes, we break off into small groups, and now you're in a room with 10 or 15 people. And there's someone in there like me who's like trying to navigate or direct the conversation, but we're practicing elevator pitches and we're networking. This is it. Guys, this is the way of the future. It's not going backwards. Like the way I grew up networking, we're not going back to that. That's not going to happen. This is the way of the future. So get good at it. Those of you who have your cameras off, ain't gonna fly in a networking event. We want to, I heard you, Will. I know you're working. Will Pittman's one of my interns. So he's on here, he's listening. But got you the cameras on. We want to see your smiling face. We want to see what's going on. If I was teaching and I had my camera off, that wouldn't do us any doggone good. Nobody can see me, nobody can hear me, or they can hear me, but they can't see me. They don't know what I'm doing, right? There, now you got to see me. You see my ugly mug. So important, very, very, very important. Now everybody wants to turn them on. Look, yeah, now everybody wants to turn them on. They're like, oh, it's over. Hi.
Is that all I had to do was guilt trip people?
So you just guilt them.
A little bit of guilt, that's okay. Well, I will tell y'all, I do these, and I am not, and Eric knows that I reached out to him on a whim, and we've been friends for a while, but I reached out to him professionally on a whim back in maybe July, I think it was, and said, hey, can you help me? I'm not really looking for a job just yet, but I'm a senior, and eventually I'm going to graduate. And since we just bought a house here, I might be stuck here for a while. And I will say, I have connections now at so many, and I've done several of these trainings, and he hooked me up with a young lady, coincidentally named Hope, who is absolutely amazing. Oh. But that's for another day. And it is over 1:30. If you guys need to go, that's perfectly fine. I won't keep you. But if you want to ask a question, you know, go ahead and still ask a question. Like I said, I will leave this going until the last person leaves. Yeah, probably actually, Jessica. Charge it to my brain, not my heart. TBI. But doing this, making connections, face to face. I just did if you're not hooked up with Wounded Warrior Project and you are a veteran, or if you take care of a veteran, you need to get hooked up with Wounded Warrior Project. I just did a day in the life with a Verizon employee, and ended up having a mentor, even though she's younger than me, who is an account executive in the marketing department at Verizon. And this is just my situation, my story. It does not apply to everybody. I am meeting with her tomorrow afternoon via Zoom. And I'm also meeting with her counterpart that actually does the hiring for Verizon next week, just by doing these these networking events, learning how to communicate via Zoom. They're okay with the fact that this is my background because I'm at work. You know, just doing these events helps people see your face, helps them see how you communicate, and puts it in their head that maybe this person can be someone that I can have work for me in my organization, because this person is going to help me to advance my organization and my bottom line. So these events are helpful. All that to say, roundabout way, send an email to Eric, wait for his email to come to you. If you don't see his email by the end of today, email him tomorrow. It is very helpful. I highly, highly, highly recommend doing so. No matter what your your aspirations for employment are, whether it be federal, he has a connection for that, whether it be just in the civilian, and if you want to be in a Fortune 500 company, he has lots of connections. If you look on his LinkedIn, I literally actually went through his contacts on LinkedIn and went to all Fortune 500 companies that I could find that he had a first or second degree connection with, and now some of them are my connection.
Yeah, please steal my connections. Absolutely. Go through my LinkedIn, go through my connections, tell them that we're mutually connected. Absolutely. You know what I love, Deanna? You know what I love about Zoom things? When I do these networking events or when I'm out there, you know what I love? It's an open book test. You know what I'm practicing for? A Zoom interview.
I like it.
Because the virtual interview is an open book test because they can't see what's not in the screen.
Yeah.
So if you go to networking events and you learn how to read your notes without anybody really noticing, man, that is a valuable skill in today's world.
I'm trying to see my LinkedIn.
There you go.
I'm telling you, I'm always working on it. And even when I'm, and I'm not even, like I said, looking for a job right now. I'm always looking at it. I'm always seeing what kind of, there's what is it called? A little box on the side, maybe a ticker on the side. And actually, I'm going to stop recording. There's a little ticker on the side